Well, another week has gone by, guys, and of course I'm talking about in the saga of what is Francis Ngannou going to do next. There is nothing we're seeing that Francis is going to throw his cards in. I'm taking Francis as very sincere, and not only as sincere, but likable. I don't like what's happening here, but then again, I like the heavyweight division. I like competition. I like to see people who want to be there. So I have my own personal stuff where I'm agitated, but I've done my level best over the last month to be mad at Francis. I can't. He was honest. He had a contract. He honored the contract. Time to talk about a new contract. He said what he wanted. He even brought us in on it. There's just nothing to be mad about. Not to mention, Francis in this whole process has been polite. Now, I can sit until I'm blue in the face and tell him the problems that I have with what he's asking for, but that's a different conversation. The one I'm here to have with you guys today is just that Francis and the information he gave us 4 weeks ago versus what he gave us last week all the way till right now is consistent and the same. So what happens at heavyweight? I think that's a tough question. I believe Stipe and Jon Jones are going to fight. I believe they should fight. I believe a belt should be on the line when that fight happens. But I can't tell you if that should be the undisputed belt because Francis is walking away, or if it should be an interim belt because don't forget, Francis is hurt. Francis at this point is not a closet champion. He has not gone underground. He has not refused. He just got out of the ring. That buys him some time. He now has an injury. That should buy him some time. Ciryl Gane should have come out and claimed not only victory in that fight, he should have claimed that he's the one that injured the knee, he's the one that put him out, and therefore he is the rightful champion. He should demand his interim belt back. He should be doing everything other than what he is doing was putting his head in the sand. So what do you predict happens for Ciryl? Well, Cyryl's probably not going to get any favors. We're not going to help him because he didn't come and talk to us. He didn't ask us for our help. He thought he had it all figured out, so we're not going to help him. The promotion isn't going to go out of their way to help him because he just stabbed them in the back not once but twice. 2 different main events, 2 different title fights, 2 different pay-per-views. He did a grand total of nothing. The other side of the coin is what's your better option? None of them are doing anything. You're in a room full of duds, so why should we just put that on Ciryl? That's not fair. None of them have done anything. And that fight between Francis and Ciryl does look better as time goes by. I must tell you, the night of the fight, I was disappointed and I was also surprised. But the more time has gone by, the more I learn that Francis is only out there on one leg, that Francis has a turn to a skill set that he perfected in the gym just in case he needed it someday and was able to pull it out while being down 2-0. The more time goes by, the better that fight looks. And I think I went into that fight, and I think you guys will probably be able to relate. We were disappointed about the striking, but we're disappointed about the striking because we love to see 2 guys go out there bang. The wrestling was so crappy. The wrestling was such garbage to look at. It was one of these things, but we were also looking at it through a different lens, weren't we? We were looking at it through the lens of what will happen if Francis gets in a boxing ring with Tyson Fury. So when we saw what a destruction that would be, we left a little bit angered, and it tarnished Francis just a little bit in the moment. I don't believe that's true now. At least it's not for me. I do look at that fight differently. And I bring that up because in the absence of Francis, it does leave you with Ciryl, who was up 2-0, who did go all 25 minutes, who never once got flattened and smashed. Ciryl Gane did 3 different things that I just named that no other heavyweight's been able to do. And if you were talking about who is the greatest heavyweight of all time, I would not even consider Francis Ngannou. I think I need to. I think I need to relook at that. A fight that happened with Francis Ngannou that possibly gets him more credit than anything else he's done was with Cain Velasquez. Before Francis Ngannou became the most intimidating guy in all of MMA, that title belonged to Cain Velasquez. And Francis walked out there, not with a whole lot of pomp and circumstance, and 60 seconds later was done. I don't need a refresher on what happened in that fight. I just made a statement that was factual and true. 60 seconds after that fight started, that fight had ended. Francis was never once in trouble, and Francis won. That happened. A number of other contenders didn't get out of one round, and they left viciously after somebody woke them up with salts. Francis found a way to come back over Stipe and beat him, who many call the greatest of all time only because of the defenses he had. You got Verdum in there, who submitted Gane and submitted Fedor. I mean, right, heavyweight's a really hard one. If I was to ask you who's the greatest heavyweight of all time, it's a really hard question. I'm watching Francis versus Ciryl. I'm saying, oh my God. First off, the commentator, Daniel Cormier, could take his tie off and beat either one of you. And second, we could bring Brock Lesnar in from whatever pair of pajamas and turnbuckle he's bouncing off of, and he'll beat the both of you too. I don't know that I don't know that that's right. I don't know that that's right. It's certainly not fair. It's certainly not the way I talk. I live with the result of any outcome. But for some reason, I pushed back on that. I'm more trying to ask myself why. I'd love to hear from you guys, but am I right? Have I already hit it on the head? It wasn't that that was an ugly fight. It's not that Francis doesn't get credit for being on one leg to start with, for dealing with all sorts of distractions for two. He was down 2 rounds. He found a way. Who cares what the way is? He found a way to come back. I think we collectively, and we're right to be mad at the poor promotion both those guys did. Absolute. Don't copy those guys. They did a horrible job. But there is another side to this. If we were looking at Francis's performance solely based on how would he do with Tyson Fury, yeah, okay, maybe you got your answer. But why would we look at the contest based on that? Francis was down 2 rounds on one leg and had to turn to a skill that he has never used in a competition before and did it successfully 3 times while tired and injured. I think we owe it to Francis and Ciryl to look back on that fight. And as disgusted as you should be with the way Ciryl handled promotion going into Derek Lewis, handled promotion going into Francis, and handled promotion coming out of Francis, as disgustingly poor of a job as he did, he hasn't done any worse than the rest of them. It's a very bizarre division. We have collectively decided that Jon Jones and Stipe need to fight. Those guys have not helped us with that decision. But we've still decided that. We've decided we'd rather see Tai Tuivasa drink beer out of a sweaty shoe than watch any combination of heavyweights that I've just mentioned for you. But that's not our fault. That's theirs. And you're still in a division that does appear the champion is not going to return to. What do you do? If Jon and Stipe are to fight, it's got to be for something. I think that's the delay in announcing that fight. That is the number 1 heavyweight fight that you could book right now with the players that are on the board. Number 1. I believe the only reason that fight is not announced is they don't know to announce is this for the interim belt or for the undisputed title.